imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal with your host, Conan Neutron. Broadcasting from a secret underground lair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
A gigantic middle finger to everything that is rock about music, rock and roll, and corporate power.
The thing is, though, if you don't laugh, you're going to go on a killing spree with sharp nails.
Confidence of a hero or a fool. I wasn't exactly certain which.
Could not be more professional.
It's only one I choose to devote my life to. That's okay.
It means something. It means something.
And take that away.
You know, that's my take on it. What's yours?
Protonic Reversal.
That's like a science thing, right?
Indeed it is. It is a science thing. It is a science place. It is a scientific fact that we are all up in your face. It is time, once again, for the one, the only Protonic Reversal. Welcome to it. Episode 280. We got Toko tonight. Toko Yasuda. I'm very excited to talk to her. We've been trying to do this for, frankly, a long time. So I'm very, very stoked that it's actually happening now. And she's done so much. Enon, always a very special place in my heart. She's played in Annie's band at St. Vincent. She was in Blonde Redhead early on. So many awesome bands. If I remember correctly, I think she's actually in the touring version of Sleater-Kinney now. So I'm very excited on every possible level to talk to her, and I'm glad we made it happen. We made it happen. So anyway, before we get into that, welcome to Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. I, of course, am your host, Conan Neutron. I'm a rock and roll lifer who has toured and recorded for over 22 years, most known for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Music is a huge part of my life, and I use the format of this very long-running podcast to talk about music with musicians whose work I enjoy and respect. Folks that may or may not be household names, but do something very, very special. This is episode 280. If this is your first time listening to the show, or if you're a long-time listener, all the archives are at ProtonicReversal.com and are always free. No ads, no sponsors. No kidding. If you'd like to support the show and get episodes sooner, you can give $1 a month to patreon.com/Protonic Reversal. And if you like the show or even just a single episode, please feel free to share it along, like, subscribe, post a review, all that stuff. It all helps people find the show, and it's frankly just a darn nice thing to do. Okay, so there you go. Let's talk to the woman of the hour here. I think we're going to just dive right into it and see what we can get into, so to speak. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Episode 280. It's Toko.
Hello.
Toko, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Conan.
Everything good?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
You sound wonderful. It's so nice to hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We've been working on this for a while, so I'm glad.
True.
Not the least of which is long stretches of like, oh yeah, we should do that. We should totally do that. And then, some terrible thing happens in the world and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It's still weird, huh?
Yeah, it is. So I guess like that's a good opening as Omicron rages. How are you dealing with your quarantine times? Like how are you dealing with everything?
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Are you doing okay with quarantine? Are you stir crazy? You're a pretty active lady, so I think there's obviously not a whole lot happening. Are you finding it easy to be creative still? Or are you just what's your quarantine activity?
Well, I don't mind being quarantined. I like being home, because I'm busy when I'm out there, but when I'm not out there, I'm such a homebody.
Right.
So I don't have much problem.
Yeah.
Home, but creative-wise, it's been weird. Yeah, it's I'm like in a weird funk for a while,
Yeah.
being creative,
It's
you
hard.
know?
It's hard to do. I mean,
Yeah, it's weird because you think you have so much more time in your hand. You think you're just gonna be so creative with all your extra times.
yeah.
But then
Nope.
sometimes it doesn't happen like that, you know?
It's really difficult. It's difficult just to be okay. It's difficult just to
It's strange. I wasn't expecting in that to me, you know? Like I was like, oh, I have to be home. I'm gonna write all these songs and I'm gonna finish all these, you know, all the archives that I have never finished. But it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, and and it's interesting you say that because I've heard other folks express that same thing. I've found that kind of to be the case as well. That there's something there that even though you know, oh, I can use this time and be useful. It's like, well, you're also having this shared experience of going through something relatively unprecedented in modern times. It's very stressful.
Yeah, it's weird because like when you have so much time in this urgent like situation in the world, but you're like so like isolated in your world that like the urgency becomes kind of stale because you're just not feeling that urgent, you know?
Yeah.
Does it make in a weird way?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of crazy that it's kind of crazy how that works because you think to yourself like, oh wow, I'm going to use this time and do all these things that I've always meant to do, and then it just seems like hard to do somehow. But
yeah,
I've heard that same thing expressed many times over, and I don't have an answer for that. But I just think it's interesting that's kind of something that I've gotten from a lot of folks.
Yeah, I don't think it applies to everybody. It just applies to like me, a bit lazy person.
Hardly. Are you kidding me? Come on.
I am a lazy person. I know me.
I would never ever use that term to characterize you. I think you are.
Well, I work hard, but when it comes down to this, like, now I have so much time, I get really lazy.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's something to be said for it when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what lazy means applies to different ways, but
different means different things for different folks, for sure, I think.
Yeah.
So, I think that you're someone that you came to my attention with Enon. I was, as you well know, a very big Enon fan. I love that band. I kind of thought Enon never quite got its due. I think some of that is, chance. Some of that's just, not anything that like has nothing to do with the quality of the band. It has to do as much with luck as anything else. But gosh, you guys put out an incredible catalog. Like they still hold up. Like you listen to the albums and like to me they don't sound dated like some records you do.
Thank you for that,
Yeah, and I was listening to like High Society the other day and I was like, wow, this record's all hits. Like
yeah,
every
that album is pretty solid, I would say. It's more like like your parents listen to and they'll be like, oh, it's good,
Yeah. Totally, yeah.
But it's like a timeless archives means so much more to me than like instant hits,
Yeah.
So that means, and we don't, I don't know what we have put out, but it's coming from listeners to let me know. That means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, and I saw the band, many times around that time, and
Where are you?
well, I'm in Milwaukee now. But at the time, that was when I first saw you play and met you was Bottom of the Hill, San Francisco. That was.
Yeah, we played there a bunch of times.
Yes, you did. And it was great.
I like that place.
Yeah, still around. by the way,
Yeah,
which is
cool,
fantastic.
cool.
Like it's always like I think every other venue of a smaller size has all gone away, but Bottom of the Hill remains, which is
Yeah, I really like that venue. Good memories.
beautiful. But yeah, I don't want to just talk about Enon. Like you've talked about, you've done so many other things. I think it might be easier. I don't know if you're into it. I was talking to Dave Leto of Rye Coalition, who I think you played with.
Dave, yeah.
In the Lapse, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Dave, we played too together.
Yeah,
He's an amazing drummer.
he's a really great drummer.
I've been so out of touch with him. I don't even have his phone number or anything. How is he doing?
He's doing well. He came on the show not that long ago, and we had a nice long discussion, and he seems like he's doing good. So, and he's on
Good.
he's on Instagram. I'll connect you to so you can talk.
Okay, yeah. A bit more active on it. Like I used to do more, but I just been so like not on it much. But
Yeah,
it's a good place to reconnect.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah, like you can find people,
Yeah, and it's kind of sometimes it's like instant time travel or something. So 'cause that's got to be so that's like late 90s, right? Like 97, 98, somewhere around that neighborhood.
Oh, it's 90s, yeah. Good 90s.
Yeah, and so that was when that band started. That was you and Chris Leo, right?
Yeah, me and Chris, yeah, and who was with us? Neil O'Brien, who's playing drum before, and then yeah. It's so blur. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's hey, Toko, it's been a while. You're doing fine.
Yeah. But it was yes. That was my very early part of my touring, beginning of this music journey for sure. So.
Well, and then because before that was the Van Pelt, if I remember correctly, which I knew of, but I don't think I.
You know.
and these are, you got to understand, in the days before, and for the younger folks listening, it was sometimes harder. You heard about a band for years and you never actually heard them until maybe you saw them play.
Yeah, that was like my very green era, like first bands in the States, like a first tour you do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that was great. So that you and Dave played in the Lapse with you.
It must be the Lapse because the Van Pelt had a Neil for drummer. Yeah, it was a Lapse then. Yes.
So had you really played much? Like you were saying that was your first band that really toured, right? That was your first band that really got.
Yeah, the Van Pelt, I believe. Yeah, it was my first band that actually I got in a van with gear and traveled. Yeah. Were
you on board with it immediately, or was there some hesitation of like, oh, this is not very glamorous?
No, I was so excited. Just, be able to see the, cities and the best ways to get to know the country that I never grew up, Like,
that's true.
It was also exciting that time. I mean, it's always exciting to be traveling for me, but that was definitely special because I could have not done that, I could do it because I happen to play bass.
Right.
And
everyone needs a bass player.
Yeah, beginning of all the journeys that I've been able to do, luckily,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that, well, and you have a very unique bass playing style. Where was the bass your first instrument when you started playing? Was the bass your first instrument?
No.
Sorry.
My first instrument was piano when I was little girl. My mom played piano, so we had piano at home, and she kind of forced me into, take like these Asian parents, like a stereotype, like piano lesson for my daughter. Yeah, so I took piano lessons for a couple years. So that was my first instrument. We never pursued to be like a professionals or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, but piano really covers everything when you look back to it. Like you have a melody, you have a bass line on the left hand, and then you have like a rhythm, like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and limb independence, right? Get one hand doing one thing and one doing, hopefully.
Yeah, piano is crucial to be like a versatile musician in a way, because you just covered all that, like rhythm, bass, melody, and practice.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And so did you sing from an early age too, or did that come later?
Oh, no. I never really sang or anything like that.
Wow, that's so interesting. So I think you got such a distinctive voice that I think I just, in my mind, thought that you had had some training.
No, I never willingly sang,
Really? Okay.
Can you sing this? Can you, you should sing on this?
Yeah.
I just went along, I'm not like a real singer. I don't think so. I just did, like I'm not trained, or I don't have perfect pitch or anything like that.
Well, you could have fooled me. I mean, every time I hear you do vocals.
If you ask like a professional singer.
No, they have.
Yeah, one time, I think it was an Enon played in France.
Mm-hmm.
And this really wasted man came to me after the gig, told me that you shouldn't sing.
Wow!
Yeah. He was like, you're not a singer. You shouldn't sing. It's not good for this band, he said.
Wow, screw that guy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, but I have to do it,
Well, first of all, that dude was wrong. Also, if he was wasted. So.
I just laughed.
Yeah. What can you say to that?
Either. I was like, I thought he was rude, but I was just like, oh, yeah, you're not totally wrong, but just, it's not your fucking business.
Yeah, you're just a dick.
So singing is not really like my persuasion or anything like that, Well,
that's so wild, because for me, one of the key things with Enon was how you and John would trade vocals. Like, I really like that aspect of the band that, to me...
Yeah. It turned out pretty good, but it was his idea,
It reminded me, without sounding anything like Fugazi, kind of like how Fugazi would, like how they'd have...
They're great,
Yeah, I mean, there's...
Like two completely different singers, just...
Yeah, totally different styles, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whatever that works, I suppose, right?
Yeah, well, definitely. And I think that it also, when you have singers that are a different style like that, that can help draw the listener in when you are sequencing a record, right? If you're alternating off, kind of like how you guys normally did on the records, then it sounds like it plays differently than if you had, here's all of John's songs together, here's all the Toko songs together. Like, it hits differently.
Yeah, that things came really naturally. So I liked that because, I'm never like, this is my song, I'm going to sing, It's just kind of like, why don't you sing the part, write some melodies, and, it really came naturally. Then I really liked that about that band, was like really natural, the songwriting process.
Well, and that came through. Like, there was a sort of, breeziness to the band, while knowing that clearly the songcraft and performance is you're very intent on putting on a good show and writing good songs, but like there was a quality to it that made it seem more... I mean, I think people use the word fun sometimes, and they use that to like not to mean like it's not important, but I think it is important, and I think Enon was a very fun band.
That's great, because that's what what you want when you go out to see band,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's really bummer when you like the record and you go out to see performance and you're disappointed, it sucks. And I just never wanted like people to come out to see you perform and be disappointed.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
so
where you're like you like the
that's-
record and the show is just not great.
Yeah.
We're just
I
like,
mean, shows we probably sucked because we weren't on it, but like we tried, you know.
well, I mean, I think it was consistent, and it's also I think Enon's an interesting band as well because John started up like the earlier version with the Skeleton Key guys, right? And
Yeah, Rick, he was crucial in the band. It's the best part of Enon, like it's really, I joined Enon because I really enjoyed Rick and John, and it's just the whole spectrum of all,
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like it's Rick left, but Enon is really, to me, is Rick, John, and us, like in a way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because Steve Calhoun was in, and he took off,
Yeah.
right? And
Amazing drummer.
yeah.
Yeah. And Matt came in
Who's great.
pretty much the time as I did, a little later. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something about Matt's style that's very unique, and that's interesting because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, he's great.
like I think that as much as I like the sort of the junk percussion, crazy early Enon stuff, I think the band came into its own with the first record that you were on. I think that was like when the band kind of became something special, became very different.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
Yeah, that band was in fun band, huh?
Very fun band. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that so tell me about well, I know I'm jumping around all over the place here.
Oh, that's fine. My mind's jumping around too, so
Okay, good. Well, then it all works out.
I'm staring at the snow-capped mountain right now and talking to you, so
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
yeah, it's great. Great.
That's
A
great.
great backyard, just sitting and looking at the mountain, talking to you.
That's you could do a whole lot worse than that. That's for sure.
Mm.
So I think that if you have a band like that, where clearly it's a fun experience, like it's the songs are good, like that the songs are. Do you know that you had something special early on, like when you first started playing with those guys? You're like, oh, this is a good song. This is also a good song. This is like
Yeah, it's good song because something that like unexpected.
yeah.
Like song that's like you heard it. The songs is like, oh, this song sounds like that, or like songs sounds like that song that I like listening all these years. Or, but the songs that I'm just like, what is this?
Right.
It was really fresh for me. It's the genre that I never like being involved before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like it gave me kind of more freedom to just experiment with writing too.
Yeah. I can
yeah,
hear that. I can
it
hear
felt
that.
very free, and it was first time I was really like be handed this sampler that I could just sample stuff and started to start a song with a sampler, because like John and Rick both had this suitcase with like like Roland samplers, or like like a Korg SK1s and all that stuff that I kind of knew, but like I never used to write music with before. And yeah, just kind of they gave me kind of like a playground to just just do something to have something bring up with something, and we will work together, kind of thing. So like, yeah, it was very crucial, like a period of time that I became really involved in samplings and more like you know, the things not just like strings, bass, drums, and keyboards and guitar, kind of.
Yeah,
songwriting.
Going beyond just rock instruments, making rock music. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
No, nothing wrong with that. But like, just I never been in a band like that before, so
yeah.
I started experimenting more, and then I got it got really deeper and deeper. Like I got really into it, you know.
Yeah, and it shows that there's this kind of devilishly experimental side, you know, that it kind of, you know, without losing the plot of what it is you're trying to do, that made for some pretty cool songs, you know. It made for interesting, you know, there's like the weird synth stuff, you know, like the bizarre sampling. I mean, I think it's something that I think is not, it's not thought of as commonplace in rock music. Right?
Yeah, and I think it really put me in a place that I wouldn't be before, you know, like naturally, and yeah, like took me to different place to write songs, kind of way.
Yeah, and was that just sort of relentless creativity? I mean, did you just? It seemed like you were just going, just like in the lab, like going.
Yeah, I mean, I had like a you know, like a 4 tracks on my own bedroom, but like I could never really like use these like experimenting things with anybody before. But it's kind of like these guys gave me like a playground for me to just like cooking things.
Right. Right, exactly. And nothing is off the menu, right?
And then like John is like, you know, really good at like putting these things together. It's just like me and Rick was just kind of like playing stuff, like bits and bits, all these archives of weird stuff, and then somebody is kind of putting things together, you know, and then we all just kind of comes over to that and then just cooking it. Does it make sense?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like everybody's a chef.
But yeah, it just basically just gave me really fun playgrounds to be like doing whatever that I never done before, you know?
Absolutely. And again, I think that it comes up in the record, which just has it sounds very assured in one way, but it's also an enjoyable listen.
Yeah, but you can't forget that part is that, like, sure, like bands or songwriters can do all that stuff, but there's always like engineer and producer in the studio who polishes and really like make it together to put it together to put that to the world, you know, like,
yeah,
because we couldn't make all these records just 4 of us, you know, like there's always this creative force that put all these things together to make it as a album, you know.
Yeah, was it Dave Sardy who did that
Dave
one?
Sardy, Greg Gordon.
Yeah. Eli, I think, recorded some stuff, right?
Yeah, Eli, like Eli and Greg and Dave Sardy, like we wouldn't be able to deliver that albums without these guys, you know.
Yeah, and it takes a village.
Yeah, like thank you, you know.
Well, and for the outside world that maybe hadn't seen Enon play at that point, it was interesting because it was also a different band live than the first one. Like it definitely like less of a lumbering thing. Like if that, like Believo like lumbers. Like it's like in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, we tore shit out of it. You know, we went to everywhere, like States and Europe, everywhere. We went so many random places to play. It was the best experience, but like, like you seen us play, but I'm sure.
Oh, tons. Yeah, you were always working it. You were always.
Yeah,
playing.
like willingly. We just loved it. Like just going to place we could never go unless we were playing in this band.
Yeah. Do you have any specific, just while we're talking about High Society, do you have any specific memories for like In This City, for instance? That's a memorable song from that.
Like what do you mean? Like you wanna hear how I wrote it, or
Yeah, just like any how did you come up with the lyrics? Where did it come from? I just think they're interesting songs, and this show wasn't around to ask you about it when it came out. So
yeah, In This City, that song I wrote with my a Casio keyboard.
Oh, okay,
like
sure.
you can buy for like $40 probably.
Yeah.
My roommate had it and had the drum beats already in it. It's like so basic,
Yeah.
Like if you hear it's really my full track, and just the like a bass line and that melody. It's so basic. Yeah, it got polished in studio for sure. I think it happens to so many songwriters.
Yeah.
That you have such a raw potential songs that somebody will polish it for you.
Right, yeah, and then it gets like if you listen to where it started from, it ends up being very different.
Make it what you want it to be, because you can tell these talented engineers that knows what to do. Like, would you be able to do this, that? Like, I don't know how to do that stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, these people really makes the songs polished. And so very basic lyrics. I think that song, the lyrics wise, I think I was pretty heartbroken that time.
Oh.
Yeah. Or just like anybody.
Yeah. Well, and
that's write good lyrics when you're heartbroken.
Right, because you're closer to your emotions, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah. So whatever that means,
Yeah, and that's a good example too. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's sort of the production on that kind of makes it into this like big. I think they called it electro pop at the time, right? I think that was the term that they used. But I always say,
like a emo pop or like a electro. What's that? Electro Crush that was big.
Oh,
you remember?
Like
at Williamsburg with the Electro Crush and stuff. Like I was there, but I was just like, huh? Electro Crush.
Yeah,
it's like crush.
It's the name sounds cooler than most of the music did, I think, personally.
They want to categorize things, but electro pop. Yeah, I guess it's electro pop, right? I guess. I don't know. I'm. Yeah.
But then
whatever the reviewer or they want to
whatever they were listening to at the time.
I have no control of it.
But there's kind of there's like noise pop elements too, as like Natural Disasters. That's a very kind of classically like noise pop song, but then has like weird kind of noisy elements to it that kind of pop in. That's cool.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
How many records had you made at that point? When you were recording High Society, like had you were you comfortable in the studio at that point already?
Yeah, it was pretty comfortable. Yeah, when you work with people, you know it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in a studio with people I never met, like a corporate people.
Oh, yeah.
Feels a bit weird, but but fuck it, you just play,
Do your
try to
thing.
play well,
Yeah.
and they're happy. They don't care when you work for like a corporate or like they don't care who you are at all. They're looking for results,
Yes. And
You
that,
just try to play well.
yeah. And that's very different than when you're, writing songs with your band and doing
Yeah,
your
like
thing.
Enon recordings were comfortable because we worked with Dave, we worked with Greg, we worked with Eli.
Yeah.
I think in the city I sang on Eli's apartment, their bedroom.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, sat on their bed, their family bed, and then I just sang on their bed. So it was comfortable.
That's
He
good.
made me
Literally.
feel very comfortable.
That's fantastic. I
But,
love it.
yeah. No, it's great. Like all of Dave, Greg, Eli, they're the fantastic people. So always made you feel at ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot there's a lot to that. Like, I think that brings out the best in a musician when you're
Yeah.
at ease.
It's so true because when I'm nervous, I don't play the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a good nervous is different, but there's a bad nervous. Like there's a positive nervous and negative nervousness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
positive nervousness always brings out the best. But when it's a bad nervousness, performing is the worst.
Have you ever felt that way when making a record? Like the bad kind, not the good kind?
Not making records, but performing, yeah. Like live, for sure.
And okay, so that's interesting because I think that some people know, and some people may not be so aware that, I mean, you have done a lot of touring as, I guess, like, a side person, like a side player, right?
Yeah.
And very well, I might add, and that as you sort of alluded to, is a different set of skills.
Yeah, it's definitely different, very different mindset too.
So right, and especially when it's something where whoever you're supporting has a very locked in idea of what the presentation's going to be, what the songs are going to be, so on and so on. How do you feel that out? Like, so as for instance, when you started playing with Annie, right? Like, how did you feel that out?
How did I figure out?
Yeah, like what was that process? Was it more?
It was it was 2011 was first, like a year that I started playing with her.
Mm-hmm.
That I never played with anybody that not like a band,
Yeah.
Played for solo artists. So it was completely different experience for me, and it was hard first, because you're hired, you're not band member, you're
Right.
touring band member. You're hired to deliver this artist visions, right?
Exactly.
This artist goal, and I took that challenge, and I really enjoyed. I didn't know I would enjoy it because I never done it. First, I was just like, I'll just try it. I will learn this song. I try. But then, maybe because it was Annie that we became really good friends and stuff, that I felt more close. But also, I really liked her new album that I was to go on tour with, and
Yeah.
so it was very inspiring because she had all these amazing players on her record. That Strange Mercy.
Strange Mercy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first gig with her, not knowing anything, just dived into it, and I had this album before it came to public, and just listening and trying to figure out the bass line, but it was not bass guitar. It was all bass synthesizer, which I never done it before, playing bass
Right.
parts with keys.
Yeah, and that feels totally different when you're
Oh
playing
yeah,
it, right?
it's not even piano playing. It's just totally different world. But like I was more excited to try than like, why do I play bass with keys? Like I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And there's things that you can do with bass synthesizer that you can't not do with, actual 4-string bass guitar. And like, obviously, and I learned things that I would never learned by attempting to do what I done,
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, and he had this gospel player, I think Bobby, what's his name? I feel bad now, remember, like a Bobby, like a amazing bass player that she hired for her Strange Mercy record, and he's just so good. Like I was just like, holy shit, this is like, am I trying to reenact this guy's,
Yeah.
But then like I was just like, all right, I'll try and learn it, and then I don't know if he would just be probably laughed off, if he saw me playing. But like, it was such a good experience for me, like to learn like this crazy gospel key players.
Right,
like,
right. Very different. Yeah.
Trying to imitate.
Yeah.
It was like really fun for me, and trying to get close to what that feels that I don't have as like that soulful playing that I don't have, in me, like as I grew up, and then I just trying to like get to it, like in my bedroom, like trying to play like he's playing. And then just like you bring that to rehearsal space, and then you're not so sure that like you have it or not, but then like nobody says anything about it, and so it's like, okay, you're not sure, but then next thing you know, you're just playing in front of thousands of people.
Right. Yeah, because that record was kind of when things started to go. I mean, it was her third record, I think, if I remember right. And
I think so. Yeah. But that record really like touched me. Like I would love Strange Mercy.
Yeah, it's great.
And yeah, it just kept growing as I playing it, and we went out, and then like maybe just like even half of the whole tour that we did, a longest tour on that album, and maybe just a half of it, I started to feel like like grooving, like okay, I think I'm playing it finally, not thinking much.
Right, fitting in, and it's just part of who you are at that point, right? Like you've found.
It started to become the show for me. Maybe I don't know how the rest of the band felt, but
yeah,
we're all trying to figure it out, and yeah, but it was very, very, very good experience, like, yeah. What was your question?
No. I was just gonna say. I think that it's interesting when you're in a band like that where it's put together from the people that are great musicians, but you don't necessarily know them as people. So you don't necessarily know their tells. You don't know their musical. You don't have like that telepathy with them that you get when you play in a band and tour all the time.
Right, but definitely I would listen to the music.
Right.
Before I would, I have to feel something, right?
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, and his music just translated immediately. It was just like, this Strange Mercy record is so sick, like, and so it was amazing. And then it kept on like 10 years something. And then the last tour I did, was this lady Jadebird from UK,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like I didn't know her music, and you listen to album and it's like this is good, you know,
Yeah.
like just like kind of jump on the things, but like playing for other people's music, I never knew that I enjoyed it as much as I do before, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I dare say, you do a very good job of it. I mean, it seems like
Thank you. I like to think that, but I never know, you know,
yeah. No, you get
because I'm not the writer. Like, if it's totally different mindset. Like, if you're in your own band, you know, or you play for other people, you want to make sure that, like, you are doing what that vision's up to, but also like they want you there because they can hire the people,
right.
you know. So it's interesting, but I do enjoy it as long as I like the music.
Right, well, that's probably pretty important.
Yeah, I cannot do music that I'm just do for money, you know.
Yeah, just that.
I mean,
that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, money is important because you have to pay your bill, but you can't just take any job, you know.
Well, and that's why it's so interesting with you pairing up with this in St. Vincent, because I mean, I think that self-titled record is fantastic as well. And I just remember it was a late night show of some kind, and how it was presented. And this is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just remembering this from having seen it. It was a while ago, but I felt like it was like there was like moving sidewalks, like in the airport where they moved forward and then back while you were playing. Did I just imagine this? Was this a dream? Was this a thing?
Airport?
Like, you know how you get on at airports, they have like, it's like a sidewalk, but it's moving, like it moves you forward and it moves you back. Like, I felt like.
No, what do you mean?
Well, I feel like the stage show, at least on the television show I saw, there was like those types of movements that were happening. Like you were moving without looking like you were moving.
With Annie.
Yeah, with Annie. Like
Which one?
I don't remember. I wish I could remember. I should have done my homework on this. But I think the presentation of, like, not just like playing the songs, but presenting it in this way that like just looks different. Like,
you're talking about the choreography.
Yes, the choreography. Yes,
thank
you.
Yeah. We did practice for weeks for that stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating and it's fun, isn't it?
It looks totally different than like a band playing, really, and it's part of a show, and I thought that was so cool.
Of course, yeah, it was part of the show. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you were actually on moving sidewalks or anything, but like I like.
Try to moonwalk, but it's hard to do with heels.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, it's not like the outfits were breakdance outfits or anything, you know. Like you're.
Yeah. I never wear like a heels my everyday life, but like you do on stage, and you have to like do like a kind of moonwalk you want to do, but like you also have like your instrument that you try not to fall.
Right, and you're trying to play your parts too, and you're trying not to fall.
And you have like a cable dangling on your feet too.
Yeah. You're trying not to forget where you are in the song, trying not to fall down, trying not to...
Yeah, you have your back like a pole that you're in excruciating pain too, and
that's rough. But it seems like that's a thing that Annie has decided to, like David Bowie would do the same sort of thing, right? Like to have like the big show, and that's part of the show. It looks
sure.
Even if you're not a musician that's coming from like, you know, punk rock or whatever, you can be like, oh wow, look, the outfits are crazy, and look at that, they're moving like robots here, and you know.
Yeah, we had a choreographer to work with us too. So
when you practice that stuff, are you playing the song at the same time? Like, are you playing your parts while you're practicing it, or do you practice it and then add the playing, or like what? How does This may sound like a silly question, but I just am fascinated by how that works. I've never done such a thing.
Not silly question. So just choreographer would so the song like there's a playback and so rehearsal space. You know, we rehearsed so many hours, but like rehearsal space, you have a song plays, and then choreographer will show you the move, and then we kind of try to learn, and then we go through song and we try to just do it all together. So yeah, you play and do the choreographing move. Yeah, just practice. Practice makes it perfect.
Right, exactly. So, but did it feel really weird or crazy? Like first time that you did it, or was it?
Fun. I like new things, you know. And if I didn't like it, I would know I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the whole thing. It's a hard work, you know. But I really enjoyed it. I don't mind working hard as long as I enjoy it, you know.
Absolutely.
Or like not enjoy, but it's like, you know, it's good, you know.
Yeah, you've done the work and it's there.
Yeah, and then you start to enjoy after you become muscle memory. It's just like, wow.
Right. Well, and some of those shows are so, so interesting how it's set up that, like, I think it was for the record after that where you were like in a row, and the other, so it was Annie and then you and then the other two, and they had the red mask pantyhose. Like looking like almost like serial killer looking. She's not doing that stuff on this one that she's doing, but the one that we did, she had the Danielle and Maddie had the face mask because it matching to the backdrop, the video that she made. Right, exactly, and it must be crazy for them to be playing in that because. I mean, I've tried playing in masks. It's no fun.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have to wear, but...
Yeah, you didn't have to.
I could have if she wanted me to, you know?
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day, it's her show. So you hired to do what she wanted.
Yeah.
But maybe she wanted me to wear too, but she was nice enough. It's like, maybe Togo doesn't want it. I don't know, but I didn't have to wear it. But I could be in the mask too.
Yeah. Well, it made for a cool show, and I like that dichotomy of like half the people being masked and half the people not. You know, it looks cool.
I would don a mask. You know, you're paid to do that stuff. You do what the artist wants you to, right?
Right. Sure, absolutely. And so on that, I saw this year. I saw the movie. I saw the movie about the movie. The what was it? Nowhere In. Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was hilarious. I was super excited when I saw you in it. I did. I liked it. Yeah.
Cool.
And it seemed like a very Annie thing to do. In a good way.
It's a while ago. I'm trying to remember. It's not that while ago, but it's like 4 years ago, though. 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This pandemic is giving me a weird sense of time.
Yeah, something seems like a week ago, and you're like, no, that was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It must be at least 2 years ago, at least. Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was good. I thought it was very clever. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was very cool looking. And, it was, again, the most Annie Clark possible thing to do for a documentary like that.
Yeah.
And I say that as a fan. Like, I totally mean that in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it seems like the kind of thing that, if David Bowie had been born later, maybe he would do, just kind of like that. Hey, let's have fun with this. Let's make this into like kind of more of a film and, Put some
And
freaky visuals.
she brought her really good friend Carrie
Yes.
into like the screen and writing and stuff. They worked together. It's cool. The two best friends made that film.
Yeah,
I think she's
awesome.
choosing, her creative output with people that she really loves.
There's something to be said for that. And speaking of Carrie, and by the way, like I love Carrie Brown. I was a huge fan way before she ever did Portlandia.
No, I don't know if you know, but I got to play keys and stuff.
I do. I do know that. That's awesome.
So, luckily, she's fantastic.
How did that come to pass? Was that, I know that they put out that record and they were, putting together the band, right?
I'm sure that Annie put the words, because I was just like jobless and just kicking around, and she was like, they looking for keyboard player, and it's like, she connected us.
That's
because
awesome.
she like made that part of the record that she produced it and everything, and she connected us, and it was amazing. It was a great tour.
There's a lot of cool keyboard parts on there too. That's a very it's an interesting record that way. There's a lot of keyboards.
Weird, because there's so many backlash because the drummer, the Janet left, and it just it kind of like it was such a messy like a vibe, like a fans world.
Yeah.
Like it's out of my hand. It's nothing to do what I have to say, but like it was just very like not ideal situation to be on tour, because like they made such amazing album, and then because Janet was like such a big part of the band and everything, so that divided the fans, and that really like kind of shadowed the really amazing record itself because of the weird politics among people,
Yeah, like they never gave it a fair shot.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fucking lame. It's just like a fan just... I shouldn't probably say much. I'm probably gonna get like a weird hate mail saying this. But like, it's some stuff was like really unnecessarily things. Like, despite just made a really good record,
Yeah.
I don't know what do you think?
Well, I think that if they had called it something other than Sleater-Kinney, then it wouldn't have, like, nobody would have felt that way. But it's
so you feel
Carrie
like,
and Curran's band. They did 2 records before Janet. And those records are great, especially the second one. Like,
I talked about this, and I don't want to make it like anything like things, but like why people like talk such a like a sick way to people that just made, like, I don't know.
Tear it down. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should not say anything, but
well,
I
don't want to get you in trouble, but I think you're right. I think that people have a tendency to want to tear something down like that, and I don't. That's not me. I don't know.
It felt very hurtful, I don't know.
Well, I like all of Carrie's other bands as well.
So they felt very. It's like, why,
I think there's something very special that happens when Carrie and Corinne play together. And I think both of them are incredibly talented, and the other bands they've done are awesome as well, but there's something really special when those two get together.
I think so too. And then I have nothing like being like saying like Janet didn't have anything. Like, she's amazing drummer and she's been part of it, but like it just felt like the whole band was like being knocked down by just being like things about that situation,
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine how hard that must have been for Angie. you know, where it's like
I mean, Angie's fucking amazing.
great drummer. Yeah.
Best, and she knew what she was coming into, you know. Some people would like yelled like things in front. Like some people came early to like yell mean things.
Yeah, that's awful.
Dudes, chill the fuck out, you know, like it's music. It's just like you don't know the fact, you know, like you don't know what really went on, you know?
Yeah, and I guess the fact that people connected so deeply with the music and they felt they have like personal stakes in it in that way. It's good that they got that connection, but it's bad that it turned mean.
Yeah, it was just very like a hateful feels that I didn't really like that, you know? It's like doesn't have to be like that, you know?
But it seems like, I mean, plenty of people came out and enjoyed the show too, right? So it seems like still was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, mostly good, but I didn't like the weirdness that like being poured in, like kind of like injected from the side of good time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it make sense? Like we had like a good time, but then there's every once in a while there's like this needles like poke us from the side, being just
right. Yeah, totally. No, I get it. Yeah.
And that we are mad at you all. So it's like, what are you mad at? Like we're trying to play good music.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know,
yeah.
It's.
I mean,
yeah.
I get saying like people don't know really what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And they just speculate and like attack you, and you know who takes high roads, you know.
Well, and bands change, and sometimes bands change their sound. I mean, all right, I'm going to bring up another example: Blonde Redhead.
Okay, there you go. I knew it's coming.
Well, they, you know, where they're at now is not where they started, you know.
No, they're great. They're great musicians, you know.
Yeah, and it started off as you know, kind of one kind of band, and some people latched onto that, and they didn't like it when they changed, and they didn't want it to be different, and some people liked it, and
see, that's their aesthetic, and I respect that.
Yeah,
it's their world, and you know, you like outside people just shouldn't poke into band's business, you know.
Yeah. And I think if it didn't make a deep connection with people, they wouldn't think of doing it. But people feel they have like an ownership stake in it or something. I don't know.
You said it right. I think people has like this ownership to band.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just gotta let them, but just don't hurt these people that trying to work hard and trying to bring some good to it, you know? Yeah.
I mean, there's, yeah, exactly. I think that's a good life ethos. I mean, do you? Sorry to bring it up. Like I guess we didn't really talk about like I don't think of you as being from Blonde Redhead, obviously, because that was a million years ago.
5 minutes, you know.
Yeah, but that is a good record. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, I'm honored. I got to play with them, but I know that I wouldn't last in that camp for that long anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it was good, really good stop by, you know.
Yeah, and it's
like
go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, sometimes, you know, stuff can be, you can make something cool, and it's just that's not what you're gonna be doing for.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Any relationship.
Yeah, it has turned out great for everybody. So it's
but really, I got a lot from that experience, you know. So I have no regrets, or I'm even grateful that I got to play with them.
Right.
You know, I'm not in friendship with them anymore, or anything like that. Like, you know, obviously they are so talented, and I got to be part of it. And that my early like time. Like I was like 20 years old,
Right. It's
21.
like prehistory.
Yeah, I got to be able to be part of that, like, so I'm thankful, everything means to me, no matter what experience I had, good or bad,
Right.
that I am thankful that I was part of any of it, because any good or bad experience, mostly good, even with them, like more good experiences than bad, led me to things,
I mean, yeah. So I'm friends with Dave Pajo, and to this day, people still obsess on Spiderland, as well they should. It's great, but it's like they were kids when they made that record. Like he's made like 50 records since then, and but it's sometimes stuff like this connects with people,
Yeah,
and it
I
means
think
something.
every experience means things,
But it's always interesting to see like what connects and stays, and what does, and what stuff comes back. Sometimes people will come back and like rediscover a band or a record, which, by the way, I think Enon's totally overdue for a revival.
If anybody wants to hear, it's there.
Exactly. The record is still there. The records are still going to be interesting. We've talked this long. We haven't talked about Plus Ultra.
What about it?
Well, I think it's I think it's interesting, and I think that's
It's a weird record.
it is. It was a. So was Enon? Now I'm trying to remember the timeline. Enon was pretty much done as a band at that time. Matt was out, right? And that's about when John started Crooks on Tape, and you started making the record that became Plus Ultra, right? Is that timeline correct?
Yeah, when John started to touring with the Caribou.
Caribou, that's right. I always forget about Caribou. Yes.
Yeah, Crooks and Caribou. That's when I started to mess around with my MPC and at home, yeah.
Did you have the idea that you were going to make records with it, or was it just like, hey, let's see what we can do, with these vintage synths and drum machines?
I didn't really have, like, goal.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make something with this new toys that I haven't really used before, like wrote music with before.
Right.
Like I got present MPC 4000 as a gift, and I started to just mess around, and yeah, we just moved to LA. That time I started writing, and yeah, and then I just started messing around, and then I was like, I want to make something, record with this. So I just started to write song when I was home by myself, in New City, without many friends.
Did you always have the idea that you were going to release it under like a band name? Which, by the way, props for using like the Roman numerals where the U's are V's.
Okay, so Plus Ultra is with a V. It sounds so pretentious, and I hate it. But so it's so pretentious. I would, but it came because this what's his name? So this like the ancient the sergeant who had his house that like took almost like all his life until he dies to like make his dream house comes true.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we went to the house tour, and he had this ceramic tiles things on the fireplace. It says Plus Ultra.
That's right.
In his fireplace with a V, you know?
Yeah. Like
The
they when you
pretentious way of say you. I so it wasn't really my idea, but I saw it, and so I looked up into him and stuff. It means farther beyond in Spanish. It's like a sailor, you know, like
cool. All right.
when sailor that like you don't want to go too far. They says it's like this is it. You shouldn't go farther than this from this ocean because they want to contain your life within your
Interesting.
religion or whatever that
Yeah.
you know. So trying people not to go explore to discover something more than what you have in your life, you know. But then this ship found a way just past it, and then it was not like a Niagara Falls situation at the end of the ocean, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like you go farther and actually you're not gonna die. You find some new life, like new lights or whatever. So that really inspired me.
Sure.
So like a farther beyond, you know? It sounds cheesy, but it's not as cheesy as the V.
Well, that's just stylization. I mean, that's
Does it make sense? Yeah. So I have a mixed feeling about it, but I took that because I had to send the name to the label that was to put out,
yeah.
interested to put out these things that I did. So I had to make decisions like in 3 hours or something. So I just did, and yeah. But by the way, yeah.
It's a cool record. I mean, it sounds like you're taking that ethos and putting it towards, the music, like writing the songs. Like there's a lot of, is it an MPC, the beats?
Yeah, I had so much fun making that one, you know. So I'm just glad somebody wanted to put it out to have actual like a textile of the vinyl, which makes me more happier than anything.
Absolutely. Well, and it's if you're talking about going further beyond, right? Like what's further beyond than just like, okay, let's make something. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, because it's always something more that you don't know, you know. But
so you wanted to have it be under a band name rather than under your own name?
yeah, I think I'm just, because I change my mind all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I think I have such a short attention span. Like, it's hard to stick to one thing. So I think I'm avoiding responsibility to call my own name.
Wow.
If it said in a worse way, you know, like you can always play the character for that mood that you are in when you're making this.
Yeah, there's a bit of finality when you put your name on stuff, and I guess I'd be a guy who
I might regret what I just said, but like I don't know. Maybe that's what it is, you know. Like I just don't know. Like, because when you're making something, it doesn't really always you. Or something.
It's your voice, but it's not necessarily
your
your voice.
That you can like change the mood of your music.
Yeah. Yeah, and instead of having, unless you're Sleater-Kinney, in which case that's not allowed apparently. But
if you were that like a strong force, maybe. But like I'm really like none of like that stuff I'm doing as a solo stuff feels very floaty. That it's not really feel grounded. I think I feel more grounded if I do this with partner, friends, like I have members, like a band.
Right.
I feel more grounded that will make this as a collaboration and solid. But like when I'm alone, I feel like I'm always floating with my idea.
And how do you know it's done too if you're the only person in the room?
Yeah,
right?
maybe I'm avoiding that. like my personal like responsibility or feelings that I get like flat back from my own work. Maybe I don't know.
Well, and it's difficult to self-motivate too. I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Right?
Yeah, I like the fact that like different solo stuff is like different me or something, because I'm not like where like I'm writing my super like this is me, you know, like
Yeah, I mean, it is true when you put your name on something. It's like, okay, that's James Brown or that's David
sounds so
Bowie.
too serious to me. Like
That's interesting.
I like to play the idea when I'm making something.
So when you're putting something together on your own, do you have sort of an idea of where something's going to fit in or how it's going to fit in with everything else?
I think that's something that's my homework. It's better to put that mindset into my work.
Right.
Will help my career maybe, but I have been so floaty that I'm functional, but I feel really floaty creatively.
Well, maybe that helps make you better as a side person for
I
these
think
bigger bands.
that's why I'm doing it, you know, because I have so many songs in my computer undone. You know, I'm finished.
Yeah.
But somehow I've been in this funk. I can't finish it. You know?
Do you work
And
okay
then,
with a
I
deadline?
will be able to at some point, but I just
Yeah.
I don't want to right now or something.
Right. I was going to say, do you work better with a deadline or to have like some stakes in it?
Deadline.
Yeah.
I need deadline.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, see, like my lazy personality.
Well, but there's something to be said for like, okay,
Yeah.
it's got to be sent off
Somebody
by.
have like at least 3 albums worth of stuff in my personal archives,
Love to hear it. You should finish it.
but I'm not happy with any of it. Maybe I will never be, but I don't know. Like what am I waiting for? You know?
Yeah, no, it seems like no one else is.
Yeah, nobody is.
There's-
Nobody's waiting for, but like I have to want to finish, right? Like
Yeah. And that's, I think,
yeah.
you're hitting on something really important because there
Sorry?
is that idea of self-motivation. You know,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm lacking on that right now. Like I do, but yet it's strange place, you know?
I get it.
Do you?
I know I absolutely do. As someone that frequently has to self-motivate, people see when you do it well, and I'm like, well, you don't see the 9 times out of 10 that I don't.
Yeah.
That's much more common.
At least I'm honest about it, you know?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No, I mean, to a fault.
I think a lot of people in my same boat, but won't say it, you know?
Well, there's a stigma, right?
Yeah, it's a stigma. But I think I started to feel like, okay, I should put these things together. Like I have been archiving more, so yeah, like even just like interview, like I was like, do I want to, you know?
Well, because that's what you said. You're like, I don't have anything new, and I'm like, you've done so many amazing things. I want to hear about all of them. You kidding me? Come on.
Yeah, but like, what do you want to ask me? Like, I haven't done much, you know?
You've done so much, and the thing is with this show is that people like hearing about the experience and the journey too. Like that's important. And talk about
everybody interested, yeah. But yeah, probably people more interested. I talk about, you know, like people I worked with. You know,
I was shocked how many people were like the Lapse. I'm like, oh yeah, the Lapse is great.
It's weird because the Lapse is the most blur memories in me, you know?
Oh, really? Like you don't have
No, it's really like no reasons. It's the most blur time for me.
Then
Yeah,
I
I
wonder
mean,
why.
if you ask me question, I will try to dig the memories, but that's the part that I don't really think about anymore, you know?
Well, it's a different part of your life, you know, and it's
Yeah, and it was not really a happiest time of life, neither.
yeah.
You know, it was not a very good time of my life. Maybe I'm buried it. I don't know, but
Do you
yeah, I
think
don't.
that happens
but-
sometimes that if it's sorry to interrupt, but if you have like a time in your life where you're personally not happy, that maybe it can affect how you think of the music?
Yeah, you're probably right. Like I was not happy that time.
Yeah.
I was I was in a very dark time.
Yeah.
So maybe, some people like to hear these translating that part of music, but I don't know, maybe Chris was fine, but I was not fine that time. Sorry, but I don't mean to bomb you.
No. But the thing is, well,
Like I can laugh about it now, but like I'm just trying to think back that I don't think about it at all much.
yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing it though, because when people come on this show and they talk about, we talk about the great times, and you also have to, talk about acknowledge the times that weren't so
talk about
great.
it now without being like painful or anything, but like I just don't. That era is not some times that are my best time. Does it make sense?
I get it. I
Yeah,
totally get it.
you know, things are documented, and if people like it, I'm thankful. But
Lots of love for the Lapse. So just take it
there
that what you will.
are up and downs, in your life that you're doing for a while.
How did you?
Yeah. What else do you want to know?
Well, how did you feel? Like, how did that band end? I don't even know how that band ended. Like that was happening on another coast. That was another universe. Yeah.
Well, so I was, I was dating that dude, that Chris.
Yeah, Chris Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, we dated, and it was just bad. It ended terribly. So that band ended terribly too.
Yeah. I guess that'll do it. I guess. I mean.
Yeah. That
short story.
That lovers have a band together, then ends it, and bands end it terribly as well.
Your name. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's that.
I mean, it was I don't think we were dating that point neither. It's so blurred. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember.
No,
yeah, it's so blurred that time, but I don't think we were together. But kind of, the lingering together moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your name
ended.
So having nothing to do with any of that. I forgot I had Sid from Les Savvy Fav on, and
Favs.
Your name was invoked, and we both agreed that you were awesome, and nice things were said.
Thank you.
And that just reminded me that you're on. Well, I think all three of you are on Let's Stay Friends, but you're on the Cat and the Cobra. Is it the Cat and the Cobra? I think the second one, right?
So, every time they're just like, "Can you come down?" Because I live 2 blocks from the studio they're recording.
Yeah.
Rare Book Room in Brooklyn back then. And so I was just like, okay, and I'll just walk by, and Tim will give me this lyrics, and then, "Can you sing with me?" It's like, yeah. And we were all really good friends.
Those are two bands that I think sit very well together. Also, discography wise, sound wise. I think I actually saw you on tour with them at least once.
Mm.
But it seemed like Les Savy Fav and Enon, well, not sounding like each other, because how would that be? But like, it seems like those bands had a similar sort of way of looking at the world and making music from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, we were good friends, and John like played with them later on too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, for the tour. Yeah, but they're a great band, And John was perfect because I think like they were influenced by Brainiac too.
Sure.
I can hear, and they had the Brainiac guitar player in the band.
Right.
Perfect.
Pretty great. Yeah.
Can be better.
Yeah, worked out okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever? So anyway, I guess that was more just a hey, your name came up in another episode, and I figured I'd bring it up, but you
pop up here and there.
So when he, I just thought I'd bring that up. I guess I don't know.
Am I doing okay? Do you want?
You're doing great, Toko. This is fantastic. No,
Okay.
this
Never
is.
do interview, just so you know.
Well,
So I'm not sure this is like the way it should be.
it's definitely the way it is for me. So
Editing this later, like to be more better and stuff.
well, now you're gonna make me self-conscious.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's good because you probably make other people more self-conscious.
Well, look. You've done a lot of fantastic stuff, and it's great. And I'm so glad you agreed to talk to me about all of it. I think that how did Enon end? It was because I didn't recall it ever being like Enon's broken up. It just
Yeah.
was there ever like anything definitively said, or just kind of peter out a little bit at the end?
Well, I mean, Matt is not the reason that we are done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just came naturally, the time, it just, I mean, you have to interview Matt and John to hear what they think.
Yeah.
Because we never really talked. We're all close, but we never talked. But for me, like, it changed a lot when Rick left.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Rick left to the band stopped playing. It was like years, between after Rick left. But to me, Enon was like not the same after Rick left. You like a lot of people can agree or disagree, but like, yeah, sure, we kept going, but like Rick Lee was like crucial in the band, it was him and John really. So like core songwriting, that's why I joined. Hearing their music, like released or unreleased, that got me excited to play.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Like Rick Lee is so under the radar that he
really is, man. Like that guy is.
we hang out, like we're friends, but like he is a true talented, like real musicians who doesn't like promote himself. Like I don't much neither, but he's worse than me. Like
sure,
like,
yeah.
He's more talented than the person I would play music more than most people who like trying to promote so hard, like he's just somebody that like it was lacking after he left and then it was moments, but for me it was just like not the same for a while, and John is so talented and we try, but like at the point just like I'm not sure anymore,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's just you have to ask those, to Matt and John separately. You should interview Rick.
I'd love to have Rick on. That'd be awesome. That's a great idea.
Because he's amazing musician that most people would even know.
Well, and I'm the guy that I know a lot more of his discography than a lot of people do.
He's a weird dude, but but he's our best friend. So
yeah.
Well,
John's told me that there's so much Crooks on Tape stuff that's never been.
Oh my God, they have so many unreleased. They just record every jam they do.
Right.
And this Joey Caravan is a drummer. He is so under the radar that nobody that probably would know, but we do, and some people of course knows him. He's an amazing drummer, and they just they're such a geek, like
right.
nerdy. They just in a studio jamming and recording, and I hear the recording. It's just so good. It's like, what are you gonna do with this stuff?
Sit on it for forever. Apparently, is what they're gonna do.
It's just so good. Better than most thing you hear.
Yeah.
But that's just happening everywhere. I assume,
Probably.
But I hope they will put out something.
Do you think, Toko, that because you've mentioned you have all the stuff that you've recorded, but do you think you're done working in a band collaboratively? Do you think you would do that again?
Oh, I do collaborate. I do, but I don't know who.
Oh, sounds like a challenge.
I would love to. Nobody asked me.
What? That's crazy.
No, nobody asked me to collaborate for a while. Yeah, I'm open to it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that play music that listen to this show. So I'm just saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They know they
I'm
are.
happy. Well, I want to do a remix stuff because it might be fun, chop things up and do things.
Make something cool out of something. Yeah, absolutely. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, sounds like fun. Yeah.
Toko, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me and talking with me.
Thank you too. I hope it was okay.
It's great. I know you don't do this very often. I kind of had to talk you into it a little bit, and I appreciate that about you.
I'm sorry if I'm not interesting to listeners.
Stop it. And so the last thing, Toko, that I do for these shows, it's the only kind of canned question that I ever ask.
Yeah, ask me. You got time to.
Yeah.
In the last moments. Yeah.
You can choose to interpret it however you like. You can choose to answer it however you like.
Okay.
But why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? There's more than one answers, but right now I can say is I like to travel. And experience moments, play music with the moments, I guess. I think I do what I do. It's a therapy to me. Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like a therapy to my well-being. Not always that's the case, but most of the time it is.
Well, I love that you do it, and I love that you spend so much time talking to me about it, and I appreciate you. Thank you for doing it, Toko.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time.
Yeah, till next time.
All right, take care.
Take care, Conan.
Ah, there she goes. Toko Yasuda. Let's listen to a song. This is actually, didn't we talk about natural disasters? Yeah, let's do natural disasters. Yes, let's do natural disasters.
Disasters make it hard to mind. Birthday cake, steak and wine. The rough around the cup that make you bust a dime. They want your heart to ache and take up all your time. The broken situations that leave no resort must give way to play and sport. Don't want to think about it, don't know what to say. So sorry that you're cross. Goodbye to you today. We've got to cut the conversation, keep it clean and dry. And if they never finish, then we won't ask why. It's just a natural disaster that you've left behind. For the cuts of cake, for the steak and wine. We'll cut the conversation, keep it clean and dry. And if they never finish, then we won't ask why. It's just a natural disaster that you've left behind. For the cuts of cake, for the steak and wine. No more emotions to show. Nobody has to know. It's just a natural disaster that you've left behind. For the cuts of cake, for the steak and wine.
Crispy
right, that's The Orchard. Let's have you Fav featuring Toko. And before that, we had some Plus Ultra. And before that, we had Enon. And that was In the City and Natural Disasters. This is Multify Society, which clearly is a record I like a lot. And I'd like to thank Toko Yasuda for coming on the show. What an awesome person. What a great life in music she's had so far. And still going strong.
Are we going?
I really want to hear these unfinished demos.
Is this thing on?
Albums of hers. It's fascinating to me. But anyway, the name of the show is Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. Thank you ever so much for listening to it. The show airs Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific on Radio Nope, radionope.com. Say yes to Nope. Usually streaming on Twitch and YouTube as well these days. ProtonicReversal.com for the archives. Always free, no ads, no sponsors. No kidding. If you like the show and want to get episodes sooner and also support the show, patreon.com/Protonic Reversal will achieve that goal.
Anyone within the sound of my voice.
Thanks for sharing the show, liking it.
I've got
nice words, just listening, whatever.
50,000
Thanks for all that. It's always appreciated. I think that there's some cool stuff coming up. Pretty sure. So stay tuned. Thank you for your continued listenership. I do appreciate it.
This microphone turns sound into electricity.
Stay safe out there.
Can you hear me now?
And take it easy.
Out on Route 128, you're dark and lonely. I got my radio on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Welcome to my top 10. I'd like to thank our sponsor. But we haven't got a sponsor. Not if you were the last man on Earth. She was prepared to prove it. This one goes out to a special girl. But there is no special girl. It's the end of radio. The last announcer plays the last record. The last what? Leaves the transmitter. circles the globe in search of a listener. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is it really broadcasting if there's no one there to receive? It's the end of radio. As we come to the close of our broadcast day, got my radio on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is a test! If this had been a real emergency, hey! This is a real goddamn emergency!